I'll put this on my Facebook. Hello, everybody. How you all doing out there? I just want to introduce you to my wonderful and beautiful father, Tom Brown. Say hi, Dad.
Hello, world.
So, Dad, what I wanted to ask you is, what was the most challenging thing about being my son?
Being my
Being
son.
my son. Being my
That's
father.
about it.
Yeah.
Being my son.
Yeah.
Well, it was tough being your son.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Yeah, especially when you wanted to spank me all the time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And you didn't care how hard I cried. You just kept right on spanking.
I did do that, didn't I?
uh, what was challenging?
Yeah.
I think communication was challenging. It was tough to communicate with
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Uh,
When I was younger, you mean? Or?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even now, it's tough. It's
Oh.
we communicate, but it's still challenging.
Hmm.
I think it's challenging to communicate with anybody.
Oh, it's challenging for you to communicate.
I think for anybody.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
challenge for
we
anybody.
saw two movies last night that there's a lot of communication going on and a lot of misreading.
Oh,
If
okay.
you remember them movies.
I do remember those movies. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I think that's a struggle with most of the world actually. And when you come right down to on one, whether it's your own children or your wife or even yourself, you can very easily deceive yourself.
Hmm.
It's called rationalization.
I believe that. I believe that. I hear that.
Yeah.
So, Dad, what's the
We say things and then we try to justify them. We set out to justify them.
we?
We the people.
In order to form a more perfect
In
union?
order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the liberties and blessings to ourselves and our posterity.
It's all about our posterity, right? Let me ask you this, Dad. What do you think um, what was the best thing about being my son or being my father?
Now, do you do that intentionally, or
I
is
did
that?
do that intentionally.
Did you
I
really?
did this time. I did it intentionally. But what was the best thing about being my father?
Well, the best thing was the. Well, I don't know if it was the best thing, but I would say the most joyful were the your younger years when you were so innocent, young and innocent, and you were under the auspices of Tommy, Kathy, and me, and your mother, and and especially Tommy and Kathy and me when we would go out someplace together and just in the world and just frolic, whether it was a Wintergreen Gorge or wherever. You were just so taken up with life. It was a pleasure to see. But that spirit sometimes gets lost somewhere along the way. That's what's tragic, I think, about growing up. That innocent child spirit, like that diminishes as we grow older. It seems like, but you seem to be pretty childlike still.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else you want to share with the people out there about me? And
Well, your hand is kind of hot
oh,
on
I'm
my
choking.
neck.
I'm choking you.
Is that a ploy?
No,
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
not. It's not a
Okay.
ploy. We're just standing here talking.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Are you the new?
Looks like you got
are
a
you
little
the
sweat on your lip.
are you the new David Frost of the
I'm the new David.
21st century?
Yeah. You got a little sweat on your lip there.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, we gotta get
Oh.
your handkerchief.
Oh.
Oh, oh. So one of the things
How am I doing?
you're doing good. You're doing good. One of the things my dad, he has all these little sayings.
What about your son?
What about my son?
Yeah.
I don't have a son.
Well, you call me your son twice.
Oh, did I call you? Oh, my dad. My dad. One thing about my dad is sometimes he feels like my son.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so that's one of the things about my dad. He has all these little sayings that he says, and one of the little sayings that he always does, we kind of make a joke about it, he says, oh, oh, to everything.
Well, I learned that from my dad.
He has other little sayings, but this is the G-rated version of the video. So, this is my dad, and I love him, and I've always loved him, and I will continue to love him.
Thank you, Michael. I love you too. That was wonderful.